America is revolutionary. The United States was founded not merely in rebellion against the British King George III. The 13 former British colonies that came together created a republic that overturned existing ideas about power, authority, and the role of us as individuals in the world. For most of human history prior to the creation of the United States, hierarchy and heredity were seen as the natural order. From the time of the earliest settled societies 5,000 or 6,000 years before, who you were was defined by birth or caste. The status that you attained at birth was almost always the status you died with. America was founded as a fundamentally different sort of society to the older European order that the early settlers left behind. In the new republic, all Americans were created equal. They were all in possession, to use the famous phrase of Thomas Jefferson, of inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In America, it is what you were as an individual that counted, not the immutable characteristics, your gender, your skin color, or sexuality that you happen to have been born with. In other words, in America, merit mattered. Merit, the idea of granting people positions due to their talent, is not natural. All too often in the past, in almost every settled society, position and advantage was allocated to people according to who they knew or on the basis of their birth, caste, or status. America's sense of individualism helped ensure that the Republic became a much more meritocratic place than Europe, or for that matter, Asia or Africa. Meritocracy played a big part in elevating America over pretty much every other place on the planet. In economic terms, meritocracy works. Those places that practice it prosper much more than those that don't. But what about slavery? Some will insist. Surely it's not possible to claim that America was a meritocracy when a sizable chunk of our population were slaves. Warming to this theme, you might wonder how it is possible to claim that the United States was founded on such noble sentiments when many of those that helped establish the young republic owned slaves. It is unquestionably true that the United States has produced leaders and laws that fell far short of the founding principles. But that does not mean that those founding principles are themselves flawed. Quite the opposite. America's founding ideals set in motion a process that was to lead to the eventual elimination of slavery, an institution that before the 18th century existed in many different societies around the world, from Asia and the Middle East to Africa. Nor should it surprise us that not everyone that existed in America in the 18th and 19th centuries shares the same values and outlook of those that live in the U.S. today. It is a measure of how elevated America is that they don't. But by almost any objective measure, America is a more equal and meritocratic place than almost any other place on the planet. Irrespective of your background, heritage, or any other characteristic you were born with, imagine if you would have been better off living in any place on the planet than you would have been living in the United States. There's no need to imagine it. We can see that in every decade since America was founded, that people from every continent and culture have tried to come and make their home here. They voted, as the saying has it, with their feet. If you think America's history is somehow uniquely shameful, wait till you hear about what happened across much of the rest of the world. For most of human history, big powerful nations have exploited weaker ones. The Romans did it, the British did it, even the Aztecs and the Assyrians did it. But America is perhaps the first great power in human history not to build an empire. The United States insisted on the dismantling of the old European empires. She has used her military might not to subjugate them, but to set them free. 3 times in the past century or so, America intervened to defeat the first German militarism, then the Nazis, and finally the threat of Soviet communism. In doing so, America helped elevate the condition of all of humankind. Far from being ashamed of America's history, we should be proud of this country's past, even with the obvious imperfections.